Hi, greetings everyone. In this video, we are going to see how to set the task date constraints. One of the project's important benefits is its ability to calculate the schedule. But sometimes the task needs to occur on specific dates or have other kinds of date restrictions. While manually scheduled tasks let you set the task's start and finish dates. Date constraints are another project features that let you set the task dates with the degrees of flexibility, like a task that can start no earlier or later than the specific date. The task details form is the best place to work on the date constraints. We can see in this view the task form is in the details pane, but it's easy to change that. On the View tab, go to Split View section and click the down arrow in the Details box. Then choose More Views. In the More Views dialog box, find the Task Detail form. Select it and click on Apply. So here are the details for the task view, and now you can see that there is a box for the constraint type and the date. Well, actually this constraint type shows you something which is that every single task has a type of the date constraint. But in this case, change the driver or vehicle license address if required has the most flexible kind, which is as soon as possible. And what that means is that when you schedule a project from the start, it will automatically apply as soon as possible to every task you create. And that means it calculates the start date based on the predecessor's duration and the resources assignments. But the task occurs as soon as it can possibly do that. But let's look at the other kinds of constraints. So we have load moving truck. So we have place order for the new furniture. Well, suppose the place order for the new furniture company tells you that it's busy till 25th of July 2014. So that means you can place the order anytime after 25th July 2014. But you can't do it before that. So the type of constraint you need is a start no earlier than. So in the constraint box, click on the drop down and try locating start no earlier than. So here I am. I'll select start no earlier than and change the date. It should not start before 25th of July. I'll click on OK. If you see nothing changes in the Gantt chart, neither the time scale. Well, that's because just based on the duration of the order which will be placed on 25th of July, the duration of change driver vehicle license address is 22nd. Well, that's because just based on the change driver vehicle license address if required duration, place the order for the new furniture is scheduled to start on the 25th July 2014, and that's after the 22nd of July. But you can see that there is an indicator in the indicator cell here, and that's for a date constraint. So if you point at it, you can see that there is a start no earlier than constraint, and it's set for 25th of July. Start no earlier than is known as the partially flexible constraint. That means there is some restrictions on the date, but it can happen anytime after 25th July 2014. So the date is flexible as long as it's after 25th of July. On the other hand, if I change the duration of the changed driver vehicle license address if required to 5 days, now you can see that the place order for the new furniture does move earlier, but of course it starts on 25th of July, not any earlier. Date constraint actually inhibit the project's ability to calculate the schedule, at least to a certain extent. So you don't want to have any more date constraints than you should. Unfortunately, you can introduce some date constraint that you don't intend. Let me show you how that happens. If I drag this taskbar in the time scale, you can see an indicator shows up, and that all of a sudden there is a new start, no end, new start no earlier than constraint set to 28th of July 2014. Well, that happens because I manually drag the taskbar. So sometimes if you are trying to create links or doing different things with the tasks in this time scale, you may inadvertently move a taskbar, and then you can have a date constraint that you don't want. The easiest way to look through your schedule and just make sure that you only have the date constraint you want is by filtering the list. So here in the View tab, we have an option to filter out the dates. Select More Filters. The filter you want is the task with fixed dates. So here I've selected. So select that and click on Apply. And now you see I only have the tasks that have the date constraints. So in this case, I look through and say, well, the change driver and vehicle license address shouldn't have a constraint. So I can select that row, come down to the task details form and change it to as soon as possible. And everything is fixed. I'll say OK. Now if you see, the indicator is gone. Date constraints are ideal if you need to restrict task dates with different levels of flexibility. Make sure your schedule has only the date constraint you need, so project can do its job calculating the project schedule. I hope the concept is clear to you. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.